I remember not praying that much my whole life because I was in disbelief. And in my pride, I thought I could control my body, thinking that there's nothing growing inside me. So I was chanting day and night, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant. I would wake up in the middle of the night, hearing myself audibly say that, chanting that. Di ba parang sira lang? The first time I visited the OB, guess what? There was heartbeat already. And I said, Lord, if you are really giving it to me, I have no reason not to embrace it. So I took on the pregnancy, and where's my baby? She's there now. Of course, I was still afraid. I was afraid of public scrutiny, how to tell my parents. My parents did not know yet at that time. Someone else pa told my mom. I was seconds away from telling my mom about it. I told my dad. He did not talk to me for a few months. But in the 9 months, God, little by little, restored everything and allowed forgiveness to take place in giving way for my baby. So acceptance of my pregnancy was just the first step at recognizing how powerful and in control God really is. But the bigger hurdle that tested my newfound relationship with Him was when I decided to break up with a father. The relationship wasn't working out. Like what I said, I was very worldly. The person was not even, we were not even in a relationship. We were just a flirty relationship. And it was not conducive to raising a child. And even if I had that fear na, paano kami? Remember, I came from a broken family. So I have this idea of, I want a normal family. Gusto ko ng nanay, tatay, anak, bahay. But it wasn't possible. We were playing bahay-bahayan, but we were not married. And so I found that freedom in Christ to break off from that relationship. Because there was no covenant in it, we were not married, I felt that I had the power to say no. You know, freedom is not saying yes all the time. You're a slave when you say yes to every single thing, but when you're compromised. Freedom is saying no to the wrong things. And I said no to that relationship. And at that time, I was, of course, worried. Obviously, mag-isa lang ako. I wasn't a superstar when I got pregnant. Hindi naman ako si Jeneline Mercado o si Andy Eigenman nung nabuntis. I wasn't a superstar. There was nothing to come back to. And I wasn't sure if there was anything else that I could do aside from act. So I prayed. I said, Lord, what do I do? How do I fend for this child? And you know, as if I remember hearing it audibly. God said, one day I woke up. One day God said, it's time for you to make a business out of your baking. Because I'm just a home baker. It's just my hobby. But God said, you bake as a business. I've been baking previously for 4 years prior to that moment. But I would just bake wala lang. There was no point to it. I just like making and giving it to people. But in preparation pala for that time, that the Lord gave me that hobby. So I was struggling, but it was also at that time when a friend from college invited me to CCF. And I was one seeking for direction on how do I parent? What do I teach my child? Ako nga pasaway eh. Diba? Truthfully speaking, what can I teach her? What good can I teach her? I cannot give what I do not have. So I was seeking for wisdom on child rearing. And also, looking for solution to our relationship kasi ang gulo. Ang gulo-gulo. And then that first moment that I went to CCF, you know, the topic of the service was heart parenting. It was the first of the series of heart parenting. So talk about God's timing. Diba? God knows exactly when and how to call you. And He called me on that day. This was July of 2011. So after a few Sundays of attending service, my worries dissipated one at a time. And I learned to pray to God according to my needs. When I am tired from wearing too many hats as mother, father, provider, worker, laborer, I call out to Him as my comforter. When I am in need for whatever, for bills to pay, for food, for diapers, I call out to Him as my provider. If I am in need for work, I call to Him as my provider. When I am not feeling well, I call to Him as my healer. When I'm tired, I call to Him as my healer. And when I need reassurance that I am not alone, I call out to Him as my partner. And I realize that as I call out to God according to my needs, He becomes those in my life. And really, true to His word, I need not be afraid because God was with me. And reading my Bible every day and meditating on His word and claiming His promises empowered me and took all those fears away. That God really is with me. I am not alone. You know, if there's one name that the Lord has been so real and so consistent for me up to this day is Jehovah Jireh, my provider. I first attested to this 1 week after I parted ways in the form of the business. You know, it took only 7 days for me from that moment that He whispered to me to the first brownie that I sold, 7 days. Only by God's grace will He allow something like that to happen. I did not study business. But if there's a need, di ba sabi nga nila, if there's a will, there's a way. Kung gusto, maraming paraan. Lalo na pag kailangan mo. And when the Lord tells you, He will empower you, He will equip you, He will enable you, kahit hindi mo pinag-aralan yan. God's grace alone. So, you know, the Lord has been the CEO of my business for more than a year now. While I am simply the COO. Diba? Tawag nila, lokohan nila yun sa mga kumpanya, COO, child of owner. But yes, I am the child of owner. The owner of my business is God. So, all the decisions that I had to make, from what kind of product, what to name it, how to price it, I asked the boss. I asked the CEO. And really, He's faithful. He said that in Matthew 6:33, "Seek first my kingdom and all my righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." And really, He is faithful to do that. He has also led me and prompted me to reach out and enable many women, adolescents, and housewives alike to earn as resellers of my cookies. At one point, I had 15 resellers all over the Philippines. I know there was some in Cebu also. Most recently, in my seeking for a new product after I lost my stint on Idol sa Kusina, the Lord told me to make a cake. And it's funny because even though I am a baker, I don't like to make cakes. Kasi nakakapagod. Kasi laborious siya. Hihiwain mo, tatabasin mo, lalagyan mo ng icing, kakahon mo. It's very fragile. I would only make cakes once a year if it's my daughter's birthday. But God said, why don't you make a cake? Because you like chocolate cakes. And why don't you make it 2 flavors in one? 2-in-1 cake. And then, that's my cake. The all-mine customizable chocolate cake. And you know who the Lord used to name that? Gummy. I asked, what's a nice name? What's a nice name? She said, All Mine, because this cake is all mine. And I named it All Mine. And the Lord blesses every time you seek Him for anything. You know, He's our Father. He's the kind of Father na pwede mong lambingin. Anytime you ask, He will answer. He said that in His Word. Ask, seek, and knock. And He will answer, and you will find, and the door will be open for you. Only if we really read the Word and we can claim His promises, can those really be alive in our lives. So any business decision, from pricing to expansion, I always ask the big boss first. Not only did the Lord provide for my family through my humble home-based business, but also He made way for a showbiz comeback like no other. Like I said, hindi naman ho ako bida. Laging ako kontrabida eh. Or best friend. Muntik na ako maging best friend ng bayan. But really, with the Lord, nothing is impossible. I was able to go back to GMA 7 after I left them and I went to ABS. That's God's grace also for allowing that to happen. And not only that, I was also, may nakanood po ba dito ng Idol sa Kusina? Alam niyo ho ba na hindi naman ako marunong magluto? Nung pinasok ako sa show na yun, they got me because I was a baker. And I was not allowed to bake. So ano pong silbi ko dito? Tsuwariwa po ako ni Chef Boy. But that's God's grace. I did not deserve that. I don't know how to cook. But the Lord blessed me that. Blessed me with that stint. He gave me that part in the show, even though I am not a chef. I did not study culinary po. Libro lang. Libro lang at pananalig. Yun lang. Promise. Manalig lang kayo, kaya nyo rin mag-bake. And although once upon a time, a talent manager told me, huwag kang mag-expect na magkaka-endorsement kayo mag-ina. Hurt naman ako. Sabi ko, bakit po? Siyempre, child out of wedlock, morality clause pa lang, baril ka na. Sabi niya sa akin. But I knew my situation. But the Lord's word prevails. You know, a month later, we shot our first endorsement for CBN Asia, for Superbook. Isn't God amazing? Doesn't God work against what other people say? Na pagkaloob talaga ng Panginoon para sa'yo, kahit anong sabihin nila, ibibigay niya sa'yo. In my quiet times with the Lord, I ask Him, Lord, why am I where I am? Why am I everything that I am? Dami kong trabaho. Host, artista, nanay, trabahador. Bakit po? Why am I where I am, Lord? And allow me to read this to you verbatim because these were the exact words that He told me. This was in February 2016. He says, I made you a television personality. I put you in the limelight so that you can point where the true light is. I gave you the gift of speaking and made you to host so that you will acquire and polish the skill to share me effectively and give a testimony of my work in your life with clarity and impact to your audience. I put you in a literal position of influence as an online influencer so that you can make me known to your 443,000 followers daily on social media. And it is also of no accident that I made you into a baker so that you can teach that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. I gifted you with a talent in kneading so you can use it to show people the need for the bread of life to truly sustain them. And finally, I want you to know that I orchestrated every single moment of your life so that after 22 years, you can finally come home to me. And I made you to be a single parent so that you can experience the fullness of my being a father, both to you and to your daughter. That's what the Lord told me. That's why I am who I am now. That's why I do what I do now. Now it makes sense. The Lord made me hit rock bottom because when you're at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. And there's also nowhere to look but up. Like Job, he allowed me to suffer so that my pain may be used as a powerful testimony of how our Father is the Father of all, who loves us unconditionally, who is always faithful, who is a present help, who will always forgive and accept us and bless us even when we fail. Our God is a God who forgives, heals, and restores completely. God put me through pain because He has a purpose for it. He said that in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 3 to 5, so that He can comfort me and I can comfort others with the same affliction, with the same comfort that He has provided me. That is the purpose why I am where I am, why I went through the pain that I went through, because the purpose is to comfort others with the same comfort that the Lord has provided for me. You know, with the Lord, your pain does not go to waste. There's a purpose for your pain. Everything is God ordained. Everything is Father filtered, allowed to bring glory to Him through our lives. My life changed when I accepted Jesus. I have been a believer since 2011, but it was only in 2016 that I got baptized. Baptism naman po is a public declaration of your inner conviction that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. So it's a ceremony, but 2011 pa po ako nananalig na si Jesus ang Diyos at tagasalba ko, tagaligtas ko. Allow me to share with you a story that happened to me in 2016. In 2016, I had a cancer scare. That's why I was telling Tita Connie kanina. 2016, I had 3 shows, a teleserye, a hosting job, and a sitcom. I would tape 5 to 6 times a week, almost every day, with barely any sleep. Bahagi po ako ng Team No Sleep. Sleep is for the weak, yun ang paniniwala ko nun. Kasi bata pa ako, feeling ko kaya pa ng katawan ko. But you know, the Lord knows how to call you. The Lord knows the best way He can get through you because He made you. And because I was a workaholic, admittedly, He had to physically immobilize me so that I can hear Him. May sinasabi na pala sa akin, hindi ko pa naririnig. So it started as lumps on my legs. Every day may bagong tumutubo na, ano kaya to, para silang kabute, dumadami sila. It didn't hurt, but it was alarming. So I had it checked. They had it biopsied. One doctor said it's rheumatoid arthritis. So 28 may rheuma na po ako. Simultaneously, on my left axilla or my kilikili, I also had lumps. May nakapa akong isa. Yun pala barkada sila, 6 pala sila. I had it biopsied also, and they were not sure if it was cancer. So, either cancer or arthritis, whether they're related or not, but the lumps on my legs disabled me for a time. I couldn't stand up because there were so many lumps up to the soles of my feet. When I stand, it burns. I couldn't tape because I couldn't wear anything above the knee. Dahil puro bukol to. I couldn't stand because it burned. So I asked, can I take a 6-month leave from doing teleseries? I also couldn't bake. Baking na nga lang ang pwede kong source of income, Lord. Hindi ko pa magawa. Because I couldn't stand. So in that moment, I was crying to the Lord. Sabi ko, Lord, bakit? I was a faithful servant naman. I work hard. I trust you. Why did I get sick? I thought the surface was just, I was overworking my body. Remember, the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And you are also a steward to your body. And I was overworking it. But you know what the Lord told me? Do you really trust me? I said, I do, Lord. I trust you. Do you trust me 100% to take care of you? And that kind of hit me. I was so busy working so hard. Work. Kasi nga, mother/father ako, diba? But I was doing everything. How can the Lord work in my life if I was doing all the work? And then I asked my dad, I said, Papa, please pray for me. My dad goes to Victory Church, and he asked all the pastors to pray for me. I've never met them. They don't know what's happening to me. They just know I'm sick. And you know, all their impressions were about unforgiveness. I'm like, unforgiveness? So am I sick because of unforgiveness? No, anak, that's not what they're saying. But they're saying, maybe there's some unforgiveness in your heart. And during the time that I couldn't work, I had serious one-on-one sessions with God. And I would cry to Him, like, Lord, how come my doctors cannot find out what is wrong with me? They are specialists. They should know what this is. They're choosing between cancer, TB, extrapulmonary TB, or autoimmune. But they couldn't find out. There are 8 of them. And you know, when I was digging in, there was unforgiveness in my heart. There was unforgiveness toward someone I refused to face. And of course, that is the father of my child. So in that year, the rheumatoid arthritis doctor said, I can give you medicine to make the lumps be flat, but the bruises will never go away. Don't ever think your legs will go back to normal. I said, okay. You know how amazing God is? I will show you my legs. There is no mark at all of any lump. Everything was completely gone after a month of seriously spending time with the Lord. And I said, Lord, even if there are still lumps in my legs or in my kilikili, in my armpit, Lord, I felt I was healed. If you get me now, Lord, I am ready. Because of course, inevitably, when you have a child and you're the only parent that your child has, you will cry. Lord, I'm not afraid to die. But it's sad that I won't see her grow up. It's sad that I won't see her graduate. And Lord, kung may cancer po ako, kunin mo na lang ako. Kasi ayoko pong makalbo. Ayoko pong pumangit. Ayoko pong mahirapan yung pamilya ko. Take me home na lang. That's how you speak to the Lord. You speak to Him as a friend, as your father. I only cried for 2 nights. And the Lord told me, she's not yours. She's mine. Do not worry about her. I will take care of her. I will take care of your family. Then I said, okay Lord, kukunin mo na ba ako? Kasi ready na ako. But really, God reminded me that He's the one who will take care of her and me. Anyway, I was healed. It wasn't cancer. They said it wasn't cancer. It was also, another doctor said it was TB, extrapulmonary TB. It was outside of the lung, so it wasn't contagious. So they gave me medicine for 6 months. On the first week, I had an allergic attack. I have no allergies. I have no known allergies. Hindi po ako maselan, so hindi ko maintindihan bakit ako nagkaroon ng allergies. I thought I was really gonna die. Because I couldn't breathe, I was choking. It was a payday Friday, Ortigas was barado. Pinasok ng driver ko so that I can get to the hospital. And then the following day, I said, I'm not going back to I don't want to go back to the hospital anymore. So I seek an alternative doctor. And then, that meeting with the doctor, I felt like was a divine appointment. I shared this earlier at the workshop because the doctor, even without looking at me yet, just by reading the results, she said, I think it's autoimmune. I'm like, ano po yung autoimmune? She said, there's no known cause to it, but basically it's your body annihilating itself. Wow, annihilating, big word. Parang bomba sumasabog. Sabi ko, ano po? Ask yourself, why are you killing yourself? Sabi sa akin ng doktor, sabi ko, kasi po, Dok, ang dami ko po obligasyon. Kailangan ko po magtrabaho. I opened up to the doctor and I felt it was God telling me, you're getting sick because you're abusing your body. I was abusing my body. So I decided to really care for my body and I stopped doing teleseries and it was a choice talaga. That choice that was difficult to make because 80% of my income comes from there. But it was a test of how much I trust the Lord. So I got rid of that to honor what He told me, to take care of my body and all. A few months later, I attended a solo parents retreat. So because no more teleserye, I had time. I had time to be with my child, to bring her to school, to pick her up, to cook for her. Things that I do not get to do when you have a very demanding teleserye that takes you away at least 24 hours a day, 3 times a week. I was able to attend a retreat, a solo parents retreat. And it was in that retreat that the Lord told me, you are the mother. I am the father. You let me be the father. And I felt, Lord, for the longest time, I have been trying to play 2 roles. I am one body playing 2 roles. But it was there that He said, no, you're the mother. Be the mother. Because a child is a gift from God, a reward from heaven. When you are blessed with a child, it is a reward. It is a calling. You are called to be a parent. So prioritize your child. The order of priorities, the child comes first before work. But I would work first because I think about her. Because of provision. I always say that, para sa'yo naman to, anak, para sa'yo naman to. No. I am just the mother. God is the father. Let me take care of you. I will take care of you. That's what He said. That's how faithful our Father really is. Sexy. Miyak ba kayo? Ako hindi man masyado. And that same year, 2016 is really a year of testing and pruning me. Because God knows you well. Like what Tita Connie said kanina, until you listen to God, He will not stop telling you again and again about something. He will really make you kulit until you obey. And God honors our obedience. That same year, I got baptized, I said, in December. 5 years of being a believer, but I never got to attend that True Life retreat where you get baptized. Because may work, may soap, ay dito na lang muna ako kasi kikita ako dito. May susunod pa naman. But because that year, I didn't have a teleserye, walang kaagaw sa oras, I was really able to go. And you know, it was a turning point and also my faith took a deeper level because of that retreat. Yes, I've been a believer for quite some time. Yes, I know the foundations and the fundamentals of my belief, the theology, but it was different because God had a different purpose for that. That was a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When I woke up that Friday morning, I woke up with fear. Para akong ikakasal at natatakot akong pumunta sa kasal. Which I found weird because number one, di pa naman ako kinakasal. Number two, di ko alam bakit wala naman akong boyfriend, wala naman akong crush, wala naman akong ka-text. Pero bakit ako may ganong fear na para kang ayaw mong pumunta ng kasal. And kumbaga si Jesus, linigawan ka ng 5 taon, tapos hindi ka pupunta sa altar. I was so sure of my faith. And I knew at that moment that the devil was trying to stop me, to block me because there will be a breakthrough in that retreat. I called up my best friend and told her, and she said, you know, that fear is from the devil. No fear like that is coming from the Lord. She said, buti ka nga, takot lang sa kasal. Ako parang bibitayin that day. That's what she said. So I went to the retreat. On the 3rd day, the day of the baptism, I woke up in tears. I knew it was the day of baptism. And I woke up feeling so sure, so safe, so secure, so loved. I have never felt that sure my whole life that I was going to give my life to the Lord. So it was like giving my life to Him again. So I said, Lord, ganito siguro yung feeling ng ikakasal. Thank you, ha, pinaramdam mo na sa akin. Alam ko na yung feeling. So alam ko kung ito talaga yung dapat pakasalan ko o hindi. I felt I was going to give my life to the Lord that day. And I said, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I will do it. Anything, basta sinabi mo na gawin ko, I will do it. Because you said, my presence shall go with you and I will give you rest. If you tell me to go, I will go because you are there. Because you will meet me there. You are here, you are with me through it, you are there already. And the test of that is in forgiving the father of my child. Because I received forgiveness, I am able to give it. Can you imagine meeting a person who has caused you all the pain in your life, who has made you work this hard, lose all the sleep, who has never contributed anything to the life of your child? Di ba kung pwede lang, wag nyo nang kitahin yung taong yun, wag na lang. But no, if the Lord tells you, you have to. And that's what the Lord did last year. When I saw Him, I said, thank you. Thank you for stepping up and allowing this meeting to happen. And you know why I know it's by God's grace alone that happened? I told Him, I want you to know that I have forgiven you. I want you to know that even if you don't ask, even if you never ask, I have forgiven you. And I pray that you will also forgive me. If it was just me, I don't think those words will come from me. That was the Lord speaking through me. And that's the kind of forgiveness that the Lord has given me. And it's with the same forgiveness that I forgive this person. I am able to forgive because I have been forgiven. And I can only do that because I received it first from the Lord. You know something I want to share with you about forgiveness? 2 things. Number 1, forgiveness is a decision. It's a choice. It's not a feeling. You don't wait for it. You don't wait to feel it first before you forgive. You will wait till eternity. Hindi pa yan dumadating. It's a choice that you make. Forgiving people who have hurt you does not make them right. It does not justify what they did. It frees you from the sin of unforgiveness. It frees you so that you can move into all the good things that the Lord has for you. Because that's the devil pinning you down. Do not forgive. Stay in there, wallow in there with bitterness, resentment. No! That's not the kind of life the Lord wants for us. The Lord wants you to be free. free from all the bondages, free from unforgiveness, free from everything that is holding you down. And that's only possible if you receive it first. I was once so lost, but He found me. At my lowest, He met me and He picked me up. He healed my heart and brokenness. He restored me to wholeness. I once felt empty, but He alone filled me. I was once clingy to men and the wrong relationships, but now I depend on Christ alone. I was once very self-sufficient, but now I am solely Christ-dependent. I trust Jesus with all my heart and with all my soul and all my life. And I don't know what He has in store for my child and I. I don't know if I will still find a husband, if God wills for me to marry, but my desire for a partner is alive in my heart. But it is up to God. If it's God's will for me to marry, bonus na lang yun. Because He already is my husband, my partner, my lover. He filled me already. He filled that gap in my heart. He made me whole already. He made me whole already. And Jesus is more than enough for me. Last Wednesday, March 7, my daughter turned 7. And every time I see her, I see grace, daily grace. Because I know I would not have been able to raise her to the girl that she is now if it weren't for God's grace. Buang na siguro ako, day. God's grace lang talaga. 7 years. That's 365 days times 7, no sleep, barely any sleep. Only by God's grace and God's faithfulness when I look at her. And I have nothing but gratitude to the Lord for saving me, for restoring me, for completing us, because He completes our family. Not one day did I feel that we were less of a family just because we lacked one member. Because God is her Father. God is my partner and we are complete. Salamat, Panginoon, ang lahat ng ito ay para sa iyo at dahil sa iyo. At hindi man ako makahanap ng forever dito, Lord. Sure naman ako, may forever na ako with you. I love you, I thank you, I praise you, Jesus. Allow me to share 3 more important points, just to summarize how the Lord has worked in my life. Can I see the slides, please? I want all of you to remember that the Lord is close to the lost, the last, and the least. He's close to the brokenhearted, like what Rika said. God is the Father that completes your family. Whatever it is that you are lacking in your life, si God lang ang pupuno niyan. Next. We have a purposeful God. There is a purpose for your pain. I have said it times again. There's a reason for your pain, for your circumstances. Everything is God-ordained, Father-filtered, lahat yan allowed for the purpose of refining you like silver. He says that in Romans 8:28, He causes it for the good of those who love Him. Why do you ask? Well, if you ask, if God loves me, why does He allow me to go through bad times, through trials? Because it's God's opportunity for you, to mold you, to mold His character, the character of His Son in your life. There's a story about how silver becomes silver. It goes through fire, and all the impurities are thrown away. And if you ask the silversmith when to know when to stop, he will tell you that he will only stop when he already sees His image on the silver. And it's the same thing that God uses. He will prune us. Like what Tita Connie said, it will not be easy. That's not the guarantee of God. He's not after our convenience or our comfort. He is after our character. He wants to mold Christ in us. And if what it takes is for us to go through trials and pain, He allows that. But He also has a promise that He is with you. Diba? He says that even to the end of age, nasa finish line na si God. He is with you. And finally, the third point, that God is our partner. He is the only person who can be everything to you. Remember, I used to jump from one relationship to another, looking for all my needs from one person. And I would never be satisfied because apparently that wasn't the design. The design is that you look to God for everything. And He's that one person, that only person who can be everything to you. And I put this in parentheses, desire to marry for the right reasons. Just to close, just a light story to close. I want to marry because I want to have more children. Not because gusto ko ng kahati sa bayarin o dahil ayoko na magtrabaho. No, because I want to have more children. And I really have that desire for a family. And it's fine. Whatever your reason is, it's fine. As long as it is the right reason. Not for selfish reasons. And I say this because some singles or some solo parents tend that what they need is another person to fix their life. No. It is only Jesus who will really fix your life. He will break you before He can fix you. But that is the amazing and beautiful work of Jesus, because He is there through that beautiful process, and you can claim that. God is amazing. Thank you so much.